So we're starting today a new series of conversations because we're in the season of Lent. If you don't know what that is, it's okay. We're all beginners here. Nobody's an expert in Jesus' presence. Lent is a season that the church has practiced for ages, and it's a period from this past Wednesday called Ash Wednesday that leads all the way up to Easter in early April. It's a period of 40 days where we try to walk closely with Jesus, especially as he approaches his death and into his resurrection. It's a time where we do some self-examinations. We look deep inside and try to do our part to make room for God, for Jesus in our lives. And so to do that, this Sunday, we're starting a new series of conversations called Blessed. Jesus' words for people who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We are looking at some of, in my estimation, the toughest words that Jesus says in terms of really knowing what he's meaning when he says them. I'm so excited to do this because instead of looking at a bunch of passages, we are going to look at basically one or two phrases a week and really chew slowly on them to let Jesus' life get into our lives. Why is it called blessed? Because we're looking at a series of phrases that Jesus says in the Gospel of Matthew, one account of Jesus' life. There are four of them: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the New Testament. We're looking in the 5th chapter of that, where Jesus is just about to set out on his ministry, which lasted only about 3 years. But right as he was starting out, he had these phrases that are called the Beatitudes, where he said things like, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of the heavens. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." And he had more sayings like that, but today we're focusing just on those first two sayings. We looked a little bit at blessed are the poor in spirit on Wednesday. We're looking at blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn today. And I wanted to say that if you all don't know it, if you all don't remember it out there, on Monday and Tuesday, we talked about this a little Wednesday, but I know not everybody's with us Wednesday. On Monday and Tuesday, we opened up our church building to provide soup and shelter for our friends in the community who needed shelter. Because we don't have a homeless shelter in our county. And God nudged a few of us and we said, we don't need to overthink this. We've got a huge building. We're not doing much in it right now. We need to open this thing up. And so we did. I'm so thankful we did. Thankful to all of you who prayed, provided soup, who thought about us, and of course the few people who showed up to help. Thank you. We were able to provide shelter and safe space to some of our friends. Got to meet and connect with those folks and hear their stories, and we're going to still walk with some of those folks. But can you imagine if when they walked in on Monday with, the struggles they were going through, these friends of ours who came in, some of them with the clothes on their back, and as they walked in, right as they came in, I said, "You are so blessed." You are blessed. Blessed are you. Can you imagine that? How do you think they would react? I mean, it would be fair, don't you think, if they maybe said some bad words to me? Like, dude, you don't know. What are you talking about? You don't know what I've been through. And yet, that's exactly what Jesus says right here. And throughout the ages, we've tried to, spin it in a way like, well, maybe he doesn't mean that exactly. Maybe maybe we need to understand a little bit more what's going on with context. Because Jesus says, blessed are the poor in spirit. People who are like their bank is empty. Their bank account is at zero. It's overdrawn. They got nothing left. And he says, blessed are those who mourn. I know we have people in our community right now who experienced death and loss recently. Jesus says, you are blessed. Can you? And so maybe it's like, yeah, we've missed it. He said he didn't mean that. He meant something else. There's something we don't understand. So to give you a picture of that, I thought, yeah, well, let's go into that for a minute. Let's imagine being in that world for just a second. There's a guy by the name of Bart Ehrman who helps us to do that real quick. For instance, he tells us, if you lived in this time, you had to have 5 births in order to have one child live well into childhood and adolescence. You had to have 5 births to have one that was sustainable. Context. Well, maybe Jesus did. Maybe there was something else going on. 90% of people were the uneducated crew. Couldn't read, couldn't write in Jesus' time. There was no middle class. You were either the haves or the have-nots. No middle. You were the wealthy elite class, or you were the low class, or you were a slave. And Jesus' little neighborhood around the Sea of Galilee, they were like the low of the low, because as I've shared recently, when one follower of Jesus told his brother, hey, we found the Messiah in Nazareth, the brother goes, but can anything good come from Nazareth? So when we get into the context, his words make even less sense. It's not like, oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah, all right, Jesus didn't really know. It makes no sense. In fact, you'll see an image of this series that we're putting out on social media and stuff. We're going to keep sharing it. If you look closely at the image in the background, if we were slick with our production, I could put it up right now, but we're not. It's got a city upside down. Because Jesus' words are like an upside down reality. I've been chewing on these words, the Beatitudes, for years. I still am not sure what Jesus is trying to say. I'm not going to stand up here today and go, well, let me tell you, my scholarly wisdom, what I learned in my master's program was, I don't know. I don't know what he's saying. And maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe for too long in the church, we've been sending this message that the point of being a Christian is to be certain about everything. You ever been in a church where you walked in and you felt like you were the odd man or woman out because you didn't know everything? People were carrying around their Bibles, walking in with a smile on their face. Like they knew it, man. They know what's going on. They know what Jesus means, man. We've sent this message that in Christianity, certainty is the point. Like you got to know you got to be able to pass some like doctrines examination. Make sure you can list all the doctrines out, know exactly what all the right beliefs are. You got to know exactly what the Bible says. You got to be able to reference it, chapter and verse. Better if you memorize it. Better if you quote the memorization in front of your friends. Double points for that. And that's the point. Maybe, as Caleb demonstrated today, maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is trust. Maybe it's knowing that you're going to set out on a lifelong journey of going after Christ and never fully get it. Everybody good? You like that? Maybe Jesus comes here and says, I know of something you don't. I come representing a reality that you've never seen. And I'm inviting you to start living into it. Come with me. Follow me. I'll teach you what blessed really means. One day at a time, you will step with me into this upside down kingdom. And over a lifetime, you'll start to bear fruit that shows that you're starting to get it. And one day, when you breathe your last breath, you'll get it a little bit more than when you began, but you won't fully get it. Until one day, when the city of heaven comes down to earth, and as the prophet says, the knowledge of God's glory fills the earth as the waters cover the sea. So, let me ask you though, and you guys can answer too out there. What's blessed mean to you? What does it look like? What does it mean for a person to be blessed? Now I've totally scrambled up your brains this morning. What's it mean for a person to be blessed? What's it look like?
Another day.
We have to get through another day, fed is blessed. What's it mean to be blessed? Caleb, you've just been baptized. Give us a word, man.
To share my life with people I love.
To share your life with the people you love. So something about relationships. Lowell says, might these beatitudes, these statements, describe what human behavior must reflect for the world to discover what's possible for this human experience, which might be seen as blessedness. Yes, Deleith on the comments says, my Bible translates blessed as happy. That's the common English translation, I bet. Yeah, Doug Adams says, sometimes I think the most powerful witnessing phrase is, I don't know. Julianne Ott says, everyone has a talent and makes good use of it. Yeah, I agree with that. Something about sharing your gift for the common good, for a higher purpose. Anybody else in the live audience? Do all of a sudden you feel like you have no idea what it means to be blessed?
Waking up healthy.
Waking up healthy.
Waking up.
I hope what this does for you in the coming weeks, I hope you walk around with a little confusion in your heart. I don't mean like bad confusion. There's bad confusion that just drags you down, but sometimes it's good to be confused. It's good for our understanding of how the way things are to be scrambled up a bit. We know, don't we? We know that you can't buy happiness, right? That phrase. How many of us have tried to buy some happiness lately? We know that. We know that the patterns of blessedness that we live for aren't a reflection of the real deal, but we can't help but keep going after it. There's something about our human experience, we'll go around proudly and say, man, money can't buy happiness. And afterwards be like, Hey, I'm going to go shopping today. You want to go? Yeah, we know that, but we can't. Here's the thing. It's hard to get a new vision of blessedness. It's hard to live for a new vision, a new way of blessedness, when we're spending 95% of our time swimming around in the waters of the world and the culture and letting that inform our mindset more than being immersed in the things of Jesus. I repeat, I don't know what Jesus is saying here. And that has been good for my soul this week. Because my assumptions about what it means to be blessed feel disrupted in a good way. I don't know what he means. My experience does tell me this. Almost every person who talks about the time when they found Jesus most powerfully, it happened at a moment in their life when they were the lowest, when they were the emptiest. Maybe Jesus means exactly what he's saying, but we can't receive it because of the world we're swimming around in. Maybe we need to walk alongside people who are poor in spirit more. We need to befriend people who are mourning more. Not just send them a text or a Facebook comment saying, sorry for your loss, but actually praying about, man, how do I walk alongside a person who's poor in spirit? Maybe I need to walk alongside somebody who's in mourning, and I'll get to experience something of blessedness that I've never understood before. I didn't ask Caleb's permission to say this, so if it's not fair, Caleb, you can rebuke me later on, all right? It sounded very Old Testament. Caleb's told me his story of finding Jesus. It was when he was real low, darn near empty. And when he told me that, I felt blessed from my head to my toe. Not because I had more, not because I had a feast in front of me, not because all my circumstances were good. It's because somebody who was poor in spirit was teaching me about the kingdom of heaven, about the God who is real and who walks with us in the valley of the shadow of death, so that we will fear no evil. So, in the coming days, I invite you to let your sense of blessedness get messed with, so that you might have a chance to embrace and receive the goodness, the truth of what blessed means to Jesus and what this world needs to receive of what it means to be blessed. Be disrupted, be confused, and go after Jesus. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Well, Jesus' closest followers did it for 3 years. After 3 years, they were completely dismayed, confused, failing, and scattered. And then they got the Holy Spirit, and some things started to click. May it be for us the same in the coming days. Thank you for being with us today, for being with us in worship. To rest, reflect, learn, give thanks, be in community. Thanks for you, Katie and Joe, for sharing that gift with us today. His eyes on the sparrow. I know he watches me. Thank you for your support. Caleb, thanks for sharing your witness with us today. It's been powerful, man. A couple of quick announcements before we go. One, again, I just want to thank folks who helped us on Monday and Tuesday. Also, those of you out there, I know some folks have chipped in to help with our partnership with Assist Indiana. A couple of us went out there and shoveled some sidewalks and parking lot for them, and we're putting together some art and craft kits for their clients. And as I said, we're providing them with gift cards as well because of a donation that we received to our local impact fund. That is a way of saying, if I can pull this up real quick, it may take me a second. I invite you to consider giving to our church, not out of guilt, not out of obligation, but out of gratitude, out of what you've been given. Giving is a spiritual practice through which God can change your heart and life. Like I said, don't give out of guilt. Don't give because you think God likes you better if you give. Not how it works. Give out of response of gratitude. You can do that if you go to hec.churchcenter.com. And I realize at this moment I did not put on the Connect card, so I'm going to try to pull that up real quick. Let's see if I can do it. You know what? I'll put it in the comments later and beg you to come back. I shouldn't have done this, but beg you to come out and come back and fill the Connect card. I wasn't prepared to put that up today. I'm sorry. But yeah, go to hec.churchcenter.com if you want to give. And thank you for being with us today. I remembered the last announcement. Sorry, P.S. It's not too late to practice Lent, to make a commitment to do something over the next 40 days that can open your heart and life to the person of Jesus, to the grace of God, and to the mission that God has for the world. If you don't know what to do, go check out our Facebook page. We've put up a Lent calendar there with 3 practices we're suggesting a week for the next 6 to 7 weeks that'll help you experience that transformation. So go to our Facebook page. There's an image of a calendar there. Go check it out. If you need help, you want to try some, email me, ross@heavenearthchurch.org. Have a great week. Go in peace.